All right, I got Ryan here with me, and Ryan, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Ryan. I'm with Nissan. I'm an engineer at the test center.
Perfect. Me and Ryan have been spent a lot of time together. This is kind of one of those things where when you go to these media drive events, there's a lot of engineers out here. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of VPs and directors of this and that. I always like to kind of pair myself up with somebody who is kind of universally grounded in everything, but at the same time isn't afraid to critique or isn't afraid to, let's just say, be real. Because sometimes you go to these events and everybody's kind of like a robot and it's difficult to actually get some good information. So I appreciate that. Yep, you know, when we were talking last night, and we talked a little bit about what it takes to make a vehicle, what it takes to design one, to engineer one, to make it pass regulatory approvals, all the different things that are required for a vehicle to be on the road. It's nuts. It's insane.
Yes,
and,
it is.
You know, from someone who does a lot of reviews of RVs and motorhomes and travel trailers and fifth wheels, where people often say the RV industry should be like the automotive industry, I don't think people know what they're asking for.
No, it would add so much cost to the vehicle, to the trailer, that it wouldn't even be affordable for the typical customer.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine even a small trailer.
Right.
To have the fit and finish capabilities of a vehicle. Man, I mean, here's a question that I like to ask sometimes. How many engineers are assigned to a project like this to overhaul, to make a completely new generation of Armada?
Hundreds. There's hundreds. I mean, in Arizona alone, I mean, we have 120 people at the proving ground. There's, you know, our small part of the pie, we have probably 8 people working on it just in the testing side. You got to think about all the design engineers for the different systems, from the HVAC to the camera system to the chassis to the powertrain. It's hundreds. I couldn't even guess how many people it is.
And how many distributors of just specialized small parts, from just making the screens fit the way they do, making your navigation system work the way it does, in sync with Google, in sync with your air conditioning controls. The amount of technology alone is, I fear attaching a number to it, because that number is going to be staggering.
Yeah, it will be astronomical when you go to think about everything that is in the vehicle that you want to incorporate in your travel trailer. As you said, the technology, it's so advanced. It's come so far in such a short amount of time. I mean, from just the previous generation to the current, what we're launching here, it's unbelievable to see the resolution of the screens, the size of the screens, the features that are available.
But more important,
staggering.
The integration. So it's not just having screens. You can put screens in anything.
Right.
But having it integrated seamlessly through every function of the vehicle, the braking system, the engine, the ability for you to see your four-wheel drive information, to be able to control all of that. Every function of this vehicle is integrated into another function.
Right.
You know,
everything has to be able to talk to each other so that you can give that fluid feel of the vehicle connection and give the customer a good experience. If one engineer's over here doing his own thing, well, all these other ones over here are working together, it's going to be very obvious that he came in with his own idea, and you all have to work together to have that smooth experience.
It's always kind of shocked me, because I'm driving this vehicle right now and I'm looking around, I'm looking at the fit and finish, looking how things have come so far in terms of quality, of how they butt up to each other. The tolerances are so tight. The stitching, and again, it would give me a headache to think about all the different companies, all the different component manufacturers, all the different parties that have to work seamlessly together to make just the dash come together the way it does, just to make the parts fit into something that I can drive for hundreds of thousands of miles and it still be able to maintain that type of quality where it holds together. You know, the suspension system alone probably has its entire engineering division set up just to design it and make sure that it works the way you want it to work. You know?
Right. The suspension system has its own group, but the steering system has its own group, and those two groups have to work together. It's not just a couple guys. We're talking lots. I don't know the number, but they have to be able to work together. At the same time, you have your powertrain, you have your engine, your transmission. Those are two completely different groups that have to work together to make a smooth driving experience.
A car, unlike an RV, is going to be used every single day. It's going to be driven every single day. It's going to be driven through extreme climate. It's going to have to keep the passengers inside comfortable while that's happening. I would have to guesstimate, and now that I have actually an engineer from an auto manufacturer sitting in the car next to me, if you put together an RV that's about 20 feet long, 25 feet long, which is considered small, and it was built to the same requirements from a regulatory and even from a fit and finish longevity perspective as the program for this Armada, I would imagine it would probably be over $500,000 for an RV easily.
There's no question. I mean, you're going to have to meet so many difficult standards, and you're going to have add so much tech, so much features, and weight. I mean, if you think about the weight requirements, your trailer it's going to double. You're going to have to meet some of these crash requirements and all the other requirements you're asking for this industry. It boggles the mind of what it would come to.
Yeah. For me, honestly, I would rather pay 30 grand for an RV that I know isn't perfect, that will meet what I need it to do, rather than not. Well, first of all, you wouldn't even have availability at that point because the entire RV industry would collapse. But the few manufacturers that could still produce something wouldn't hardly sell any of them because they couldn't produce them fast enough, or at least the quantities that would be needed because they cost so much. And I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. I've made so many dedicated videos talking about that topic. And again, I still just don't feel people understand the money and the time and the engineering that goes into producing a vehicle, even a mid-cycle refresh, where you're just changing the way the headlights look, or you're just adding a different paint color. These little things are millions of dollars in the automotive industry. And they're quick decisions in the RV industry. If we want to change a window, we want to change a sofa or a refrigerator, you just call a vendor and get a new one ordered. But in the automotive industry, every little thing you change, to go from an 8-inch screen to a 12-inch screen to a 14-inch screen is not simple. It's a lot of work. And again, I mean, I'm glad you're here to help share that information.
Yeah, we're working 3 to 5 years out right now. If you bring this new requirements into that industry, which has never had to face that kind of development before, it's going to be 5, 8 minimum years before they can get that product even to the market.
Yeah. Ryan, again, thank you for your time. I truly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, I'd appreciate it if you took a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again real soon.